So you've done the self-improvement, you did the method, you transformed, you're starting to get choosing signals from women when you go out, at the bar, at the gym, grocery store, etc. You can confidently approach and get her number. Let the games begin. The way you text women in the initial stages of dating is one of the most important aspects and ways that you can create genuine desire from her towards you. The problem is that most men do not understand the fundamental rules of this texting game, and so what they end up doing causes the opposite. A woman who was initially somewhat interested in you is now pulling away and showing signs of disinterest. Truth is, the way that you text a woman has the power to completely kill any attraction that she had for you. But on the other hand, it also has the power to turn a woman who is only somewhat interested in you to being fully obsessed with you if used properly. In this video, I will be explaining the number one texting rule men must follow in order to channel this power in their favor. To sum it up, we must use texting only for logistics and as the tool to signal to her that we have abundance and pre-selection. What is pre-selection? Watch my other video on the number one most attractive trait to women by far. It will be fully explained there. The main issue that men have when it comes to texting is that we think that texting can create attraction. We feel like through communication, getting to know each other more, bantering, talking, and communicating on a daily basis, a relationship is forming. We think that communication equals a relationship. And if we're not communicating over text, there's no relationship. So you don't go on a date for a week or two, and if you don't communicate at all between those dates, we assume, oh, something's wrong. We're not in communication. Therefore, there's no relationship forming, and she's probably losing interest or moving on to a different guy. This is a fatal error that men make because they don't understand female psychology. We project our own male psychology onto that of women. When a woman who we are at least initially somewhat attracted to starts pursuing us often, is very responsive to us, texting us a lot, and basically kind of simping for us, that's actually attractive. That kind of draws us into her even more. This is not the case for women. And so the fatal error men make is assuming that women's brains work like a man's, and that by pursuing, constantly texting her, constantly asking about her day, communicating with her through text, that we are also building that attraction. This is the opposite of truth. Your good morning text, your good night text, your long paragraphs, talking, deep conversations, asking her about her day, etc., all is building validation. And guess what? It's not building attraction. In fact, it's doing the opposite. I'm going to explain why. And this is going to go back to our good old friend, hypergamy. All right, what is hypergamy? Women can only be attracted to a man who she views as above herself. So really, this is why women like the bad boys. The guys who kind of treat them like crap. A lot of times these women just can't help but be in these cycles of chasing these guys who are not sending them good morning texts, are not sending them good night texts, are not sending them random, hey, how are you texts. These guys are ignoring them. They're not pursuing them. They're not actively chasing them. This is how female attraction works. What that signals is that you have other options. You are pre-selected. That's what pre-selection means, is that you probably have other girls that are also interested in you, and that is the number one attractor mechanism that you can have as a man. Biologically, a woman seeing another woman are also interested in you sexually. Women who are at least on her SMV or higher, there's no better way to increase desire in her. So what we're using texting for is to signal pre-selection and abundance. Do you think guys who have 30 hot girls hitting up their phone every single day, begging to go on dates with him, is going to be texting one of them all throughout the day, constantly, good morning, good night, pursuing her like crazy? No, he's not. Because he has so many other women pursuing him. So when you do that, when you are constantly texting her, trying to communicate, have conversations, being so available and responsive over text, what you're signaling to her is that you are desperate and needy and you have no other options. Therefore, you are not pre-selected, and nothing kills a woman's desire more than realizing that you are not pre-selected and that you are needy. Women like guys that is slightly out of reach for them, that they have to kind of work for. Why is that? Because the guy who satisfies her hypergamy is going to be above her. She has to kind of work a little bit harder for his validation, whereas the guy below her who's pedestalizing her, constantly validating her, texting her all the time, is not going to satisfy the hypergamy, and therefore there's going to be no attraction. Or even if there was initial attraction through those behaviors and showing her that you're pedestalizing her, that you're not above her, you're not satisfying your hypergamy, a guy who she otherwise could be like, oh, he's kind of cute, and start texting, you can lower her attraction to nothing. Women like tension. They like this kind of emotional roller coaster of chasing a guy's validation who she views as above her. Because every time that the guy does send her a text or does go on a date with her, it gives her such a dopamine hit. Versus when you are texting her constantly all throughout the day, she gets desensitized, there's no dopamine hit, your texts don't mean anything. All right, the guy who doesn't text her for 3, 4, 5 days in a row, she's constantly wondering, why isn't he texting me? Every other guy I know is constantly texting me, hitting me up, trying to get my attention, trying to go on dates with me. And he's not even texting me. What is he doing? I bet he has other girls he's talking to. Ding, 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 pre-selection, attraction. Now he's going to be obsessed with getting his validation. Because unlike all the other guys, he doesn't need her. He's showing through his communication, through his texting strategy, that he does not need her, that he has other options, that he has abundance, he has other things going on in his life. With that guy, she's wondering, what is he doing? Does he have stuff he's working on? Is he at work? Where is he? Why isn't he texting me? Does he like me? Does he have other girls who he likes more than me? And so she's going to become obsessed with getting that guy's validation because she has this internal conflict of not feeling good enough for him, and through getting his attention, that gives her that satisfaction that she is. So she goes through these emotional highs and lows, which is actually good. Women need biologically emotional highs and lows. They need somewhat of a roller coaster. If it's constantly flat, all right, here's my good morning text. Here's my good night text. Yep. Oh, he's going to send me, how was your day text. Oh, he's going to send me, I hope you're having a great day text. There's no unpredictability. She's not wondering about you. She knows what you're doing 24/7. She knows what you feel 24/7. She knows that you view her as the prize and you're chasing her and you don't have other options. So she's not wondering about you. Your text and your validation means nothing because she already knows she has you. She wants the validation from the guy that she's just out of reach for her. And this mechanism of women liking those highs and lows is biologically ingrained. Because if they're with a guy who has good genetics, is a reproductive success, which means that probably if she has kids with him, her sons will also be reproductive success, is going to be getting attention from other women, and there's going to be drama. He's not going to be giving her all his attention. He's not going to be giving her constant validation, and she's going to be kind of in competition anxiety, kind of jealous, wondering about the other girls. It's going to be emotional highs, dramatic lows and highs, right? And this highs and lows that she's feeling emotionally when she's dating a certain guy tells her body that she has the pre-selected reproductive success choice that is satisfying her hypergamy. That's why the worst thing you can do to a woman is be boring. You must be unpredictable. When we're constantly texting her, we're predictable. Good morning. Hey, thinking about you today. Hey, can't wait for our date later this week. Oh, was thinking about you this evening. How was your day? I just got off from work. I'm about to go to the gym and then cook dinner. What are you doing tonight? So predictable, so boring. She knows you have no other options. So her brain is going to subconsciously be telling her that you're a negative choice for her offspring's reproductive success. When you text less, she has to think about you. And when she's thinking about you, wondering about you, she's investing in you. And when she's investing in you emotionally and has this mental space that she's thinking about, since she doesn't know what you're doing, she doesn't know how you feel about her, that creates attraction. When you are less available, when she cannot get a hold of you as much, when you're not texting her as much, she is thinking, ding, 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 pre-selection. Other women must be wanting him. She thinks all men are, horny creatures that need sex and want women so badly. Why is he not texting me so much? Probably because he's getting it from other places. And guess what? She can't help but fall in love with chasing that man's validation. So how do we take these concepts away and apply them to our life practically? Like I said in the beginning, we only use texting for logistics. What is logistics? It is setting up dates. When you first get your girl's number, you can have a little bit of banter, just a little bit back and forth, a few messages. Don't try to get to know her. All right? Don't give away information about yourself. Just playful banter, but don't let this go on for too long. You need to work towards setting up a date. On a date in person is where you build attraction. In addition to your lack of availability and your absence from texting her from the point where you schedule a date until the date. That it actually builds more attraction than anything you could even do on the date. So we use texting for logistics only, and then after you set the date, don't text her during the week. You're busy doing other things, even if you're not. All right? Even if you don't have other girls. Even if you have tons of free time, you must logically act in ways that display pre-selection and abundance and will signal attraction in her. All right, a lot of guys are freaking out. No, well, if I said date Monday, I don't text her at all until the morning of the date, she's gonna lose attraction. She's not gonna want to be with me. Right? There's no relationship there. Again, that's the problem. Actually, it's the opposite. By you not texting her, she's wondering about you, and she can't stop thinking about why you're not texting her when every other simp on her phone is 24/7. When I first started dating my girl, I approached her at the gym, got her number, did a little bit of banter, set a date for a week later, and then didn't text her at all the whole entire week. And later, I asked her, what were you thinking during that week? She said, I couldn't stop thinking about you the whole time. I was thinking about you the whole time with zero communication. She is building this fantasy of this relationship in her head. All right, she needs to build this in her head. When you are texting her and you're trying to build it the masculine way through actual communication, direct communication, we're building this relationship. There's no room for her to create this fantasy in her head and wonder and chase you and seek your validation and put you on a pedestal in her head. She doesn't have time to put you on a pedestal or the ability to, because you're putting her on one yourself by texting her too much. Now, during the week, I definitely was on my purpose. I was doing things. I was busy, but I definitely had time to. Sometimes I was probably playing video games at night or something. I could have texted her, but I didn't on purpose because I understand this psychology and why it's so important to follow these rules. This is so powerful, guys. If I had approached her, got her number, and then was constantly texting her all throughout the day, every single day, leading up to our first date, she would have had way lower attraction for me. If her attraction was initially high enough, like she was physically attracted to me that high, she might kind of overlook it a little bit or say, oh, well, I'll give him a little bit more of a chance. But if I continued behaving that way, all attraction would have been lost. The reverse is also true. I've seen guys with get numbers from girls who initially did not have much attraction in them. Actually, one client I'm working with got a number from a girl who was not really like that into him in the beginning. And then through this behavior and not texting her that much. In fact, they were kind of long distance away. So eventually I had him say that I don't want to text you at all anymore until you're in town, just because, I'm busy and this is not going to go anywhere if we can't actually see each other. What did she do immediately? She planned a trip to come up and see him. And again, she did not have that high of attraction. Next thing you know, she was actually friends with my girl as well. So I kind of got both sides of the story. And she told my girl that she couldn't believe that he didn't want to text her and that no other guy has ever been like that. Every guy that she's talked to was always trying to text her 24/7. And this built so much attraction. And she was seeking his validation, wondering why he was different than every other guy who was texting her all the time. And therefore, next thing you know, she's chasing him, planning a whole trip to see him, and hooking up with him with extremely high desire. So final takeaway, guys, do not use texting to build attraction in a literal sense. You can use texting to build attraction by not texting her. Use texting, obviously, to communicate and to set up in-person dates. A little bit of banter, set the date, and don't talk to her until that time. I'll make more videos on specifics of, wording and how to specifically set things up, what to do on the day of the date, etc. But this is the number one point that you guys need to know when it comes to texting and creating attraction with women in the initial stages. So many guys make this mistake, and just by you understanding this and not doing this, you're going to be so far ahead of so many guys, because most guys, they're not conscious enough to actually seek this information like you guys are. They're just kind of going based on what they think is right. And right, like I said, as men, we think that the communication builds the relationship, when actually all it does is signal to her that you are needy, you have no other options, you're pedestalizing her, chasing her, and you are not pre-selected, which means that you don't satisfy her hypergamy and she will not be attracted to you. Follow these rules, guys, and just see for yourself if the girl has at least semi-initial attraction to you. Using this strategy, you can build that attraction up extremely high until she's obsessed with getting your attention and validation. So, as always, subscribe for truth. Peace.